This is out of control, guys. Okay, I'll start it off. I got it. I
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
Amber,
Jacqueline.
who the hell told you to turn it down?
Not my mama.
She got it from her mama?
That's right. No, I was never told to tone it down. I was never told to hush. Luckily, I was raised in a family where I was able to be heard. However, I will put this
okay.
on it. It had to be in a respectful manner. So we would have conversations about things and with adults, with all the adults in our family, and they would listen to what we had to say as long as we were coming from a respectful place and we wanted to talk. They would let us be a part of conversations. And I think that was a good thing.
Oh my gosh. So tell me about the women in your family, because I think that's really important here. You said your mom gave you a voice. Your grandma too?
I have, yes, both of my grandmothers, and I even was really lucky to know two of my great grandmothers.
Okay.
And so, they lived really hard lives. And I just would go to my grandparents' houses and I would love to listen to all of their stories. My maternal grandmother was a huge volunteer philanthropist.
Wow.
She loved giving back. Service, I guess, would have been like her love language. She loved doing that. She ran, they're called like candy stripers at hospitals.
Yes.
She was the lead volunteer of her local hospital, and she would help all the candy stripers. She took care of all of them, and she would make sure that, they were helping out all of the patients that were in the hospital and just bringing joy to everybody. And that's just the type of person she was. She was a really giving person, and that's what she always, taught us to exude. And my other grandmother, she was totally, opposite. My grandfather was a rancher. He had cattle and horses, and, she was really up helping him and cooking all the food every day and just supporting him in all that he did. And I think what he and she, both taught me was just that hard work pays off. And, you're not going to get anywhere without working hard.
No, definitely not. But I definitely have to say, do you think that is a era in time that doesn't exist anymore? Because I even know for me, my grandmother was a big part, both my grandmothers. So I have my Nana, and then I also have my grandmother, maternal and paternal sides. And I learned so much from them.
Mm-hmm.
I had two mother-in-laws. Oh my gosh, I learned how to make the best food from scratch, So like all of that stuff played a big factor in me. I had a lot of amazing, powerful, well-spoken women in my life, but also taught me not to be loud, but also how to just be and to own who you are,
Definitely.
And that was very important. Even it's so crazy because my grandmother, she would tell me so much like, if you have to raise your voice, then you will always have to raise your voice. She said, you and the way that you live and the exampleship that you deliver is going to be enough. So be enough. And I'm like, okay.
That's interesting because I have said to people in the past that I think if you have to raise your voice, then you've already lost, because you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I think that's true. But yes, going back to what your question was, have we lost that? And I think to a certain extent, but I think that if we promote with our children, which I try to do with mine, the same ideals that we were taught, at least some of them, and they do spend time with their grandparents as well.
So important.
And it's so, so, so important because just learning that different era and all the things that your grandparents have been through, it really puts a perspective on things, just like, especially to them because they're in the social media era, they're in the, having a phone era and like all of these things, like to hear those stories of what their grandparents have been through, it's so, so important.
What do you think our grandmothers Are your grandmothers still alive?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately.
What do you think our grandmothers would say in the society that we live in of social media today?
Oh my gosh. I honestly don't know because, my Mimi, my mom's mom, she was a huge like journal writer. She literally, I did not know this my entire life until she passed, that she would write journals every day about what happened and,
Wow.
what her thoughts were and just what was going on in life in general. And I think that she would be saddened to see like kind of the state of things, today and what's going on with the children, with social media, and that nobody's writing, nobody's reading, nobody's having conversations. It's really, I think
It's all chat GBT.
I think she would be
We live in a chat
sad.
GBT society.
Yeah.
Oh, my grandmother would just be like, she would think it would be, are you out of your mind? This is really what you're bringing to me?
Mm-hmm.
So she wouldn't even play into that, But it's interesting, I definitely have to say. So your grandparents, your mother, you were surrounded by some incredible women. You just said your grandmother was a journalist. I mean, that's incredible because you have to put a lot of thought into that. You have philosophy. And it just makes me think like what you just said. I've been journaling since the third grade. And that was something that I loved to do. I would write poems, I would do all that. And then I wrote a book. So it's like, and I'm writing my second book right now that we're launching in 2026. But, it's that art and that passion to write and to collect your thoughts and put philosophy into pen to paper, I feel like that is starting to become a lost art, especially with ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. Where's that going? How far is it going to go? I mean, part of what we were learning in school, and what I enjoyed was writing and writing all the essays. And I always enjoyed the essay writing over because I got to express myself and make points and do all the different types of essays there are. Versus, I hated multiple choice because I wasn't that great at it.
Yeah.
But I always enjoyed writing essays and learning about something new. And now, how is that going to work? Because, like you said, Chat GBT. These kids are. I mean, my daughter just confessed to me the other day something that she had used for Chat GBT, and I don't even remember what it was right now. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't like she cheated. But it was like, what? You use Chat GBT for that?
Yeah. Like, why? How about just have a thought? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when do you feel like, I guess, confidence has been a punishment?
I mean, I think I've definitely been in situations where a person's behavior has changed because I'm confident. And I never want to be the person who causes somebody to shrink. Like we were talking
Ooh,
about in a different
yes.
episode,
Yeah.
where we have shrunk because of situations or just young in our careers or whatever. But I have been in a situation where I felt like somebody thought they had to shrink because of my confidence. And I just remember taking them to the side, and just having like just a heartfelt conversation and just saying like, hey, if I'm coming off a certain way or if I'm, making you feel a certain way, I'd never want to do that. Just let me know.
Do you feel like that's your responsibility, or do you think it's the other person's responsibility to, like, kind of investigate where that insecurity is coming from? Like,
Well,
do you think that you have to take that responsibility on?
I don't think that I have to take that responsibility, but I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier, which was having grace with other people and understanding as to where they're coming from and why they might be feeling that. And I would always rather just defer to them, and at least if it's an option. And this was not an adversarial situation at all. So, and it wasn't something that I was getting like paid to work on, that I needed to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
So I was able to go ahead and have that conversation with someone, and really it just gave her a boost, and we had a conversation about that, and she understood that there wasn't any reason for her to feel that way. And then, like what you were saying, let's go and investigate why you're feeling that way.
Yeah. It makes me think of a time for myself, especially when I was in a room with a gal that we were working together on a project. And this person, I continually push them to have the stage and constantly like pushing them to have the shine. And in one moment that I was able to, do a presentation and I was able to deliver my, my philosophy on things, so many people were like, wow, I've never heard you speak. That was the first time I've heard you speak, and I want to hear more. I want to learn more, and it really took the other person, and they got offended. And instead of feeling confident in the partnership, they felt like, I think I should take the lead more. And then that partnership dissolved very quickly. Not because I wanted it to dissolve, but because it was like, I think I need to be more independent, and I think I need to, really create and pave this road for myself. And I don't see that being a dual partnership. And
That's what the other person said to you.
yes, that's what the other person said to me. And then after that, when people were continually asking, where's your partner? What's going on? Then the other thing that happened was, oh, we separated because she couldn't deliver as much as I can. And these were people that were coming back to me and telling me this. And it's like, wow, that's really hurtful, but also very shameful that instead of like rising to the occasion and having confidence within yourself, you went out of your way to deteriorate another woman.
That's horrible.
And eliminate those opportunities. So it's like, that was an interesting situation. And over time, so many people had come back to me and said, I see who that person really is, and I see the way that person really moves. And it's definitely not the way that I've worked with you,
So Jacqueline, would you...
And I hate comparisons. So.
Yes. Would you consider that a punishment? That confidence that you had a punishment, or would you just consider that the other person's problem?
No, I definitely feel like in some equations I have been punished for having confidence, but I also feel like my 25-year-old daughter told me this. She was like, where a door closes for you, like 5 other doors swing wide open for you, and they're better opportunities, which I cannot say was far from the truth, because after that door had closed, I'm like, wow, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And about a month later, I get a phone call, and this was like totally set my whole entire career off to another level. And I got pulled onto something that was just super amazing, and loved working with everybody I was working with. The money was amazing, but it also opened the floodgates for all the clientele that I have now, which I would not have had that opportunity if I had still been partnered with that person.
So that confidence punishment paid off.
The confidence punishment paid off. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think also it's just the way that you look at it too, right? So how many doors have closed on your face, like slammed on your face with your fingers in the frame? Me, a lot. But your attitude, just from knowing you as long as I have, your attitude is just like, okay, where's the next opportunity? Where do I go from here? And
I try.
yes,
I don't always succeed at that because it sucks at the time. It's not always easy.
it does. And it's like, let me go home. Let me cry about this for a little bit. And it's interesting because
And then
people
kick
don't...
yourself in the butt. Get over it.
Yes. And people don't think I cry. I cry all the time. I mean, my poor honey has to hear about it. He's like, oh my God, this is going to be a long night. Let me grab the tissues, And there's so many opportunities that have closed because of confidence. And I think it's really a reflection of other people. If somebody is coming to you and they have a higher level of confidence, for me, I embrace it because I think, what can I learn from this person? What can I take away from this situation? How can I grow? And damn, I want to be as confident as that person is, And I say it's all in the way that you look at it and the reflection that it shows you in the mirror of who you are. If you're threatened by it, then you're not ready to grow.
Ooh, I like that. Definitely. And I think going back to that confidence and how that looks, I think, we need to take into account those who have the lack of self-confidence. And how does that look? And what is the difference between being aggressive, being assured, being, arrogant? What
Yeah.
is the difference of confidence to those types of words? And a lot of times that we get labeled, like if we take charge of something, it's like, oh, she's being aggressive.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Or bossy or
Yes.
pushy or
Yes.
demanding. Yes.
All of those things.
Yeah. No, I think, first of all, how do you stay soft and strong in those situations at the same time, right? So when you're talking about why are you coming at me in a masculine way? You know, like, oh, that's that masculine energy there. And I'm like, no, that's me calling you out on your bullshit. Like, or that's me like calling you out on a standard that you are not rising to the occasion of. Like, if anything, that's a perfectionist or confidence, or even the fact that I can have that conversation with you. You're not interested in being called out. And that's what it comes down to, you know? And so being able to understand, how do you protect your confidence? How do you protect that, Amber?
I think protecting confidence is just being okay with being you and being okay, just like we were talking about earlier, in the failures. Like, one of the things where I really felt like I took my career to the next level was when I realized that failures weren't something bad. Failing at a business,
Ooh, I
losing
love
a
that.
case, it's a learning experience. And then also the same tone of what you were saying earlier, it means that door was closed, but another door is going to open and there's something else for you. But really just diving into those losses, those failures, and figuring out what happened, why did this happen, what could I have done differently, what was the reasoning for that, and then applying that to the next scenario. And I feel like once I started doing that, it really changed my confidence level, because nobody can win all the time.
Absolutely not. And I think also too, like, I personally don't take myself too seriously, you know? Like, I take my work serious, I'll evaluate what went wrong, what worked, what didn't. But I also really rely on systems in my life, right? And so if I'm able to revamp a system that kind of failed me in the past, then how can I look at it, evaluate that, and change it, right? So I look at it in that sense. But also too, like, what are the tools and emotional, like, assets do you have, I guess, that protect yourself from that confidence failure, I guess, or even emotional failure for yourself,
Well, I would say on the tools aspect, I try to utilize, which I've been doing for years and actually have kind of taught other people on systems in business, which is setting out goals, setting out to-dos, setting out a list of things I have to get done for the day, the things I'd like to get done for the day, the things I, want, and, all of that. And so I wouldn't say a strict set of that, but I really try to set out what I need to get done and then go and get it done. And I try to hold myself to that. But I'm also realistic about it. But as far as the, mental side of that, or I would say just taking that time for yourself and with family. And that's probably my biggest thing, is just when I have to have some downtime several different times during the day with my family, spending time with them, disconnecting from business and work and phone and laptop and
Yes.
on down the line. We have to do that disconnect too. And we're asking our children to do it. They don't want to do it. But we need that too. We need that.
Damn. I seriously feel like, even as you're saying that, what comes to mind for me right away is confidence comes from failure, but it also comes from getting up and picking yourself back up and really grinding it out, not quitting. And I really think that people look at confidence and you're like, oh, damn, you were born with confidence. But no, there was a secret recipe in your life that created that confidence. So that confidence was, you failed forward, but you continued to keep pushing forward. You never stopped. You continue to invest in yourself. And it's not just about the failure, but how are you changing that failure by saying, okay, I failed here. This is the things that happen.
Right.
How do I rework that? How do I grow and learn from that? And I think that's that missing piece that a lot of people are, we live in such a world today where it's like everybody gets a trophy. We didn't come from an era
No.
where everybody got a trophy. We came from an era where you got a trophy because you worked your ass off for it. And that's just the nitty gritty of it. And I think right now there's a mental looseness going on. And that mental looseness is, a lot of people don't have that confidence or that courage that came overnight. No, that didn't come overnight. That came from working through your failures, getting back up, trying to perfect something in your life. And I'm not saying for you to be perfect, but you tried to perfect something that you failed at and you continue to rework it until it worked for you and worked in your advantage. But I think discipline also, I have to say, just knowing you and knowing your routine, you have a lot of discipline, and discipline has been my best friend. Having a routine, having those systems in place, and that's what's been able to get accomplishments. And because of those accomplishments, all that is a check that, yes, I did that. And that created the confidence, right? So an accumulation of check marks of accomplishments created that confidence.
Well, just, knowing you as well, it's getting things done. And I think putting things out there, just like we've talked about many times, saying it, writing it down. And, if I say something and I tell you I'm doing it, I'm damn sure doing it. I'm not going to let me down, and I'm not going to let you down. And just consistently hitting those things, doing those things, and seeing those things moving forward, that helps, I think, me stay confident in what I'm doing.
Well, I think also when we talk about staying soft and staying strong, in this situation, just getting this whole podcast together, running a business, because you're still running a law firm, I'm still running a business, we still have clients independently, and then we're getting this whole production going on, working side by side with the team and everything, and being in those meetings. In a sense, we have to be aggressive about what we want and what our goals are. And I think you and I are both not afraid to be aggressive in that manner when it comes to going for our goals and going all at it. But also, when you think about it, we still have that soft, like feminine energy too, which is like, we're excited to tell this story, and we're excited to bring other women on board with us, because this podcast isn't just you and I.
No.
We're looking to bring other women a part of this, and we want to share their voice and also share their experience as well. And this is what you and I had craved. Every woman that we had talked about or talked with is craving this as well. So, that's that aggressive energy, but it also is about accomplishing, right? And that's that confidence. Like, we feel confident today because we were able to build a brand so quickly. We were able to mobilize all this stuff together so quickly. And in and of that self, there was an aggressive action towards that. Are we penalized for having some aggressive energy towards something?
Well, I think certainly people try to look down on that. But I think it's coming from a place where they can't deal, or they can't produce, or they're not at the same level.
You know what, to me, what it reminds me of is there's days where I get up and I have a whole lineup of meetings, back to back to back, like not even a lunch break is in there. And sometimes I feel like, do I want to do that? Like, I don't want to do a meeting right now. But not only do I have to do the meeting, but I also have to bring the energy and the excitement and the strategy and everything else that comes along with that meeting. And I have to show up at 110%, and there's no other way around that. And I can't just say, well, I can't do that meeting, or I don't want to do that right now, And so there is a sense of discipline when it comes to doing the things that we want to do. So I think that's what the difference is there was a saying that I heard one time that said, you and I are successful, but the only difference is why you see my success is because I did the little actions that other people didn't do while you were sleeping. And it's like, How many times have we been on the phone at 12 o'clock midnight? You're like, okay, how about this? And how about this? And juggling all these different things. The other day, my daughter asked, like, gosh, you seem a little busy or distracted. I'm like,
girl, you don't even know.
I'm like, you're on the board of the nonprofit. Yes. How many meetings are we doing? We're doing events. We're doing things, bringing people in. We're making decisions for a nonprofit, But on top of that, we're making decisions for a podcast. And then on top of that, we're making decisions for our own independent businesses. And then on top of that, we're building Club Conduit.
I don't think our plate's full enough. What do you think?
And on top of that, I'm sorry, we forgot the biggest, most important thing. We also have children at home that we're raising. We're raising other human beings. So other people might say, oh, well, I don't want to do that. And I agree with them. No, it's not for everybody. But what we're trying to accomplish, that isn't something that we're willing to waver. We want to make an impact, And sometimes that impact is at home, and sometimes that impact is out in the world.
Well, let's get real. Let's find out, Jacqueline, is there a time when your confidence have you been taken down a notch? Have you felt like, oh, shit.
Oh my God.
I'm taken down.
Yes.
What was that like?
Okay, this is going to sound so crazy. So for about, I would say almost a year, I felt like I didn't move like I was moving before, and everybody in my life was calling me out on it. And I felt like I had been told so many times over and over and over, you're too much, you're too much, you're too much, you're expecting too much, you're demanding too much. But it was like, when I was showing up as too much, things were like getting done at such a high level, And I felt like I kind of took a back seat because I felt in that moment and in that time frame that I was trying to figure out who I was. It was like, it is okay to be that person. But because up until that point, I had, lost some relationships. I had lost, a lot of different things along the way, but it was because of my expectations. And then I came to a point where I said, I draw the line here. Like, my expectations are the standard for me. And just because my expectations are not the standard for you, and you have a lower standard, that's okay. I love you anyways, but I cannot lower my expectations and my standards because you don't want to put the energy into doing things at a different level. And then from that point on, I only surrounded myself with people that were working at high levels, high function. I could not be surrounded by anybody that was comfortable. And that is what I live by today. I cannot surround myself with people that are comfortable. I love you, but I cannot be in that environment. I am allergic to that environment, like severely. I will have to go to the hospital and you will have to heart resuscitate me. Just kidding.
All right, you heard it here. Okay, baddies, we've come to the end of the episode, and we want to hear from you. What are your confidence tax stories? How have your confidence been taken down? What have you learned from your failures, your losses? How have you been able to remain confident? What can you tell us? What can you share with us?
Okay, what's a mic drop takeaway for you? But also, have you ever had to fake it till you make it? Did you ever fake confidence? Did you ever fake confidence, Amber?
100%.
Yes. Did you ever have to fake confidence to make it? And then when did that confidence actually show up? When did you catch up to that real confidence from faking to real? When did that shift happen for you? We want to hear from you guys. Put it in the DMs. Put it in the chat box. We want to know, when did that shift happen for you? You faked it till you made it. And then at what point was that? Tell us your story. We want your real life stories. We want to talk about you on this show.
Can't wait to hear from you, baddies.
All right. Mwah!
Okay, I'm here with the Andy Vasquez. What do you guys think? She did this. Go see her at Angeline DiCarlo in Southtown, right, Andy?
Yes, I'll be there.
She's the best. Y'all go see her. Bye.